One too many predatory marketing gurus pushed Jeff Zalesak to social media with information that he had learned in college. He developed a plan to help fellow tattooers market themselves without spending thousands of dollars. That's right, he gives out that information for free. Join us as we talk about his rise to popularity and his tattooing in this one-on-one conversation. Jeff Zalesak, I am a tattooer on Instagram. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks you for doing this for me. Let's get into your, history a little bit before we get into the social media stuff, which is probably where most of you guys are going to know Jeff from. How long have you been tattooing for?
I just hit 20 years.
So you're from Camp Hill, PA.
Yes, right outside of Harrisburg.
And the shop that you have is the Camp Hill Collective?
That's correct.
Who broke you in?
20 years ago, I got an apprenticeship at more of a biker-owned shop, so it was kind of handed a machine and told to get to work.
Okay.
But then I moved on and kind of was really apprenticed under a guy named Jeff Messersmith, who he learned a lot and got to learn his chops from Jerry Rieger, so it kind of traces back to him. And besides him, I was working there for years and then also working with Seville that owns Built to Last in York, Pennsylvania, and he taught me so much about tattooing, tattoo history. There was also another guy at the shop named Gary Kamen. He owns, I'm not sure where his tattoo shop is. He owns now. I feel like an asshole.
That's all right.
But he taught me a lot about machine building, wrapping coils, stuff like that. So I kind of give the three of them most of the credit for apprenticing me correctly.
Right on. Now, I saw some of your work yesterday, which was phenomenal. You were doing that Pittsburgh piece on that guy's ribs. What would you consider to be your style of tattooing?
That's kind of where I always kind of bend the lines because I never had a style and I've beat myself up for it for well over a decade. Okay. That I never specialized in one thing and became that cool guy that was known for a specific style. But it was a long time ago, probably like 2012 and no, maybe 2000, between 2008, 2012. I won awards in different categories at the 23rd Street Armory Philadelphia Tattoo Convention. And Philadelphia Eddie came over and we just, a little banter back and forth. And he kind of gave me credit for the fact that I was working in multiple styles. And I kind of always held that like, yeah, it is okay to work in multiple styles. And now I kind of see the industry moving. Guys who used to specialize are now learning more styles. So it was definitely good for business, but I've always gravitated towards American traditional, neo-traditional. And then when I started, if you would ask me what I'd never tattoo, it would have been black and gray realism. And
now you're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. Now,
that's cool though. I mean, like I always, I guess I'm more impressed with the guys that are multiple, styles.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm from that old school mentality of tattooing. Like, when I started getting tattooed, it was like biker shops.
Yeah.
So it was basically like, if it was on the wall, I could do it.
Yeah.
And, at that point, you could do almost anything.
Yeah.
To a point. There was guys out there that tried doing shit. But I also appreciate the guys that could say, hey, man, realism, dude, go see the guy down the street because I can't. Yeah. So that's awesome, man. And like I said, I saw that piece yesterday. It was pretty phenomenal. If you took pictures of it, we'll put it on the screen for everybody. I was introduced to you with the social media thing. How did that all come about with you?
And actually, it all stemmed from a phone call with one of these tattoo marketing guys because I own a shop and you know what I mean? It was not slow, but I was like, I'm always interested. I went to college for marketing, but obviously, you know what I mean? I went when I was 20. I'm 43 now. I'm like, a lot of stuff has changed. I think I keep up with social media, but you know what I mean? I just post pictures of tattoos and my social media looks like a robot that tattoos. There's no pictures of me. There's never me in it. It's just all tattoos. So like, let's see what's into the side of this. And I got into a predatory sales call where I was being pushed to like, you know what I mean? What would you do if you had more money? And, you want time with your wife and kids. And da-da-da-da-da. Well, this class is $3,000. Like, that seems more that I can do some research on YouTube.
Yeah, it seems scammy.
And it got really pushy into the, didn't you say you wanted more time with your kids? So you don't want more time with your kids. Well, this will allow you to have more time with your kids once you're doing this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start looking into this stuff. And as I looked into it more and more, I was like, this is the same basic marketing stuff that I learned 20 years ago, just adapted slightly.
Right.
And I put out my first video that was just kind of breaking down one concept from one of the courses, and instantly people were hitting me up. They were like, hey, I took this course. Like, did you take it? I was like, no. They were like, you taught exactly what he taught. And I was like, yeah, it's basic marketing stuff. So I just keep researching and keep figuring out, and people are giving me little hints of what they learned in their courses as far as subject matter, and then I'm giving my opinion on it and giving it away for free, because a lot of desperate tattooers really want to succeed are getting taken advantage of and paying $3,000 for basic information, and I just see it as a cash grab, and cash grabs have never been good in tattooing.
Right. Now that you're doing all that and you are definitely giving out some phenomenal information, how do you feel like social media is playing a bigger part in tattooing these days?
It definitely has its part, and that was one of the main reasons I was looking into it, because tattooers who I love, that I looked up to, that, you know what I mean, were the most well-known in my area, were the guys that said, oh, word of mouth is fine. I don't need an Instagram. I don't need a Facebook. I don't need, and now 20 years, 15 years later, I've watched their shops close, get sold, and now they're working for guys half their age or have retired. And I was like, man, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be the guy who keeps up with the trends. So, like, as much as nobody needs to be an internet influencer to be successful in tattooing. Right. But there has been a transition in the industry where I think that people are looking at quality work, but they're also looking for an artist and their energy and kind of their overall vibe.
Yeah, because that's huge for me.
Exactly. So I think there's people, if you can figure out even just a slight content schedule that shows a little bit of who you are, there's going to be people who are like, oh, I love their work and I resonate with their personality. I'm going to book an appointment with them. And that's kind of what the newest videos have been about. I put a little section out that was like 10 videos on like how to create your own, your own content. And it doesn't have to be memes or singing or dancing or this and that, just putting a little of your own personality into it. Because the connection, if someone likes your art and can connect with you as a person, they 100% are going to book with you.
And they're the ones that are going to keep coming back.
Exactly.
You had any of the old school guys reach out to you to either get advice off you or have thanked you for putting out that info?
The funniest thing was in a bunch of the internet influencer courses, they're big, like, there's going to be hate, there's going to be negativity. Don't, you know what I mean? Just push through it. I have received like 3 negative comments from people trying to sell courses, and then tattooers who I have looked up to my entire life have been sending me messages from, from Jesse from Body Graphics to Joe Capobianco, Jimmy, like all of them. They asked me to come down to possibly present at something that they're doing. Like all the older guys that I bought their sketchbooks when I was, you know what I mean? I stole tattoo magazines that they were on the cover of when I was a teenager. Are all like sending me positive messages. And that's kind of like, in the beginning, it was like, oh, I'll make a couple of videos. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, as these guys I look up to are like, hey, thank you for doing this. I was like, shit, I guess I have a mission now.
So that's the other thing too and that's what puts you aside from like an influencer, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing it to help people. And you're also doing it just to promote your business. Yeah. You're not like, I want to have 1 million followers and get this check from Instagram, or you know what I mean? That's not your goal.
Yeah.
You come off as a real person in your videos. And believe it or not, you just said Jesse. I think that's how I was introduced to you.
Nice.
Was
that's awesome.
Him reposting one of your videos.
Nice.
So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, dude. And the information that you're giving out is top tier. I mean, I haven't taken advantage of it because my Instagram and all that sucks. But like we talked yesterday, people don't realize how much effort you have to put into those things to get them kind of going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's what I was trying to break down is like, hey, how can we figure this out? Because a lot of us, it's just us. You know what I mean? I'm one artist. If you ask anybody in my shop or my wife when I filmed any of that stuff, they'll be like, I don't know. Because I'll sneak in and, you know what I mean? 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there.
Dude, I saw you post this morning. You were brushing your fucking teeth.
And that's the thing, simple stuff like that. Like, oh, shit, he brushes his teeth.
This guy.
Regular ass dude, fucking brushing my teeth with fucking toothpaste in my beard. Like, I'm a regular person, you know what I mean? I do everything that everybody else does, and somebody's gonna find that funny and relatable and be like, yeah.
You got me, dude.
But yeah, that's what I was trying to do, is break it down to something more simple, because it's me filming all that stuff, editing that stuff on CapCut quick. So how can I do it? And like, I tattoo 6 days a week. I don't have a filming day. I don't have a production crew. I don't have anybody that helps. Like, how can we break this down that you could film something that you could put out in 15 minutes, 10 minutes of editing, and get it out there? If artists can do that even once a week to show themselves as a person and show, who they are genuinely, that's, you know what I mean? Just, it's going to make a difference in people's careers, that they don't have to pay $3,000 for a course and cold message every follower that follows them and all the stuff that these courses are teaching.
And we see them all the time on Instagram. I think if you're into this stuff, you're going to know exactly who we're talking about. And, it's a scam, dude. You don't need to do that. I mean, I had a guy he got picked apart pretty bad by Beaver Duck and Jesse, and he was bad-mouthing apprenticeships, and then come to find out he's got his online tattooing school. So there was ulterior motive there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You weren't being just like a legit person. You were, being a scumbag.
But yeah, and that was my other issue with it, is a lot of these things, I've gone to their sites and gone through the whole sign-up process just to check at any point in time if these courses are in any way vetted. They're anyway vetted to make sure that they're going to tattoo artists. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when like the tattoo DVD thing was big on instruction, they were only sold by tattoo supply companies. They were trying to make sure they got into the right hands. And now it's, you know what I mean? You can sign up for this learn how to tattoo course or whatever. And
go to Amazon and buy a whole kit to tattoo.
Yeah, and it's being marketed to the general public because they want that extra, because it's for money. So they don't care who buys it. As long as you pay $1,000 for their online seminar or this or that, you're right in. You know what I mean?
With that being said, and obviously there's still some old school guys that are pushing back on the social media stuff still, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for older crowd to change how they've been doing things. But how do you feel like the tattoo craft is going right now?
I think we're seeing some of the most exceptional work we've ever seen, and also some of the lowest end work we've ever seen, due to the fact that you can order supplies off Amazon, you can just learn at home, this and that. And there's a few influencers who are pushing, you know what I mean, like unapprenticed horrible work as some kind of technique. And
I can't think of the guy's name.
There's one, it's something scratcher, like they have scratcher right in their name, and they're like, no, this is a technique, this isn't, this is untrained, and this is poorly done tattooing that could cause health issues for those getting it done. Like it's a rough one. But also I don't know, We've seen tattoos go through trends. Like for a while there, it was layering, medium grays, no outline, this and that. And then not the last time it happened that people remember. The one that guys who are older than me tell me about, that they all did back in the 80s. And then they went back in and they re-outlined and pumped color and contrast and all those things in the late 90s. And then it's kind of cyclical. So I think we're seeing great tattooing right now at almost its highest level. And then we're also seeing great tattooing that is more AI generated, and seeing a push for that, which I'm neither here nor there with. Like AI can't draw. So everyone who's drawing custom, beautiful work, it's gonna always, you're gonna be able to see it.
Yeah.
And then the low end of, promoting people that are doing dangerous work.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Do you feel like it's oversaturated? Too many tattoo artists right now?
Yes and no, because we clearly know how it happened. I recently made a video on tattoo apprenticeships, and I think art is still a great way to gain one, but it's we're coming into the season right now as the weather warms up. There's going to be shops. We're looking for 2 apprentices. Like, tattoo shops don't look for apprentices.
Right. Someone
becomes the apprentice. Right. You know what I mean? Whoever's helping out at the shop, whoever's there, whoever's drawing. You know what I mean? I've tattooed. There's a guy named Jay. He lives in Texas now. rooms filled with awards and this and that, but he was just a young kid that I started tattooing and kept bringing his drawing book in and bringing his drawing book in. I gave him little tips and pointers on his artwork. And then, you know, he had a nice art portfolio built. He moved to Texas. That portfolio got him an apprenticeship at a reputable shop. He learned how to tattoo. Now he's a phenomenal artist. And, you know, I think that's the way we should go, because a lot of people are taking, I'll apprentice you $5,000, and then taking that money and not teaching them anything. And then they're salty about it, which they should be.
Right.
So then they go out on their own, open their own private studio, kind of learn how to tattoo. And then when they need people, they apprentice more. And it just kind of ramped up the saturation.
And it's bad behavior teaching bad behavior.
Exactly. So, and then now we're definitely oversaturated, but I think, you know, artists can stand apart from the oversaturation with just the old classic techniques, you know, just being a good person, treating people well, and having that word of mouth of, hey, this guy was awesome, check his work out, and that plus a little bit of social media, and it just separates, you know, everyone from the crowd.
So one last question, we'll let you go because I know you want to make some cash. If somebody wanted to get into tattooing, what would be your suggestion?
My biggest suggestion is working on art. And, you know, we have all the tools at our disposal now to be able to research the art of a tattoo style free from home. You can look into, you know, Japanese woodblock cuts and how they use that to turn them into tattoos. You want to look up traditional tattoos, neo-traditional. You can find all the basis for the artwork out there. If something grabs your eye, draw in that style, but also make sure you're drawing in the styles that you're like, I'm not super into this, but I want to understand it at least. And having a good art portfolio, coming into a reputable shop, which they're going to be full, but showing up, getting tattooed there. Can I help out? Do you need help with anything? Hey, saw you're having a flash day. You need someone to take your trash out? By the way, here's some new drawings I did, you know, and just pushing your art forward, and then getting into a reputable shop with someone that you resonate with, that you enjoy their work. And then, you know, getting into the craft that way. I think there's no way to, if you won't accept no as an answer, you keep working on your art, and then you get into the industry that way, it's impossible for you to not be successful.
Right on. And keyword, folks, portfolio, not your phone, portfolio.
Yeah. We want to see
a lot of old heads
physical art. Physical art rules.
You walk in and throw your phone down, I'm going to throw you right out the door.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of old heads say that. Man.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, dude. It was awesome.
Thank you.